Hello, my name is Nelsonator, and I'm here with my friend.
I'm Parrish Torch.
And this is Mega Man Battle Network 6, Cybeast Gregar. So, last time, we, did some information and just... we did some information. We did some looking and discovered that a penguin recently escaped from the aquarium here, so we're here to see if we can find out anything more and maybe return it. The aquarium is very clearly a tourist destination, including this big stuffed animal shop, and it's got a maid who's working it. The maid has shown up in every Battle Network game as one of those side characters who's just sort of hanging around and not doing anything particularly important. In 4 and 5, she got a job at Higsby's chip shop, and here she's working as a stuffed animal vendor, I suppose. There's a compound associated with the stuffed toy shop, but you can only access it from the internet, and I went to it last episode, so I'm never going to have to think about the stuffed toy shop again. Never, ever. Also, here's another instance of Giga Cannon just showing up in the opening hand. Why? Why does it love me so much?
Apparently, whatever randomized seed you have for your, folder setup, you just put everything in just the right place.
Yeah, clearly. Also, we can eat digital fish sticks from the fish stick supply, and he will give us a key to the internet that will, So that door we saw in Seaside Area 3 that I couldn't open up, this unlocks that door, and then it unlocks the, special upper road across Central 2, and it ends up in, like, an industrial pump room. Mr. Prog, why do you have this? Why do you have, like, secret keys that lead to, like, city-critical infrastructure that you're just handing out to people who give you 100 cennies? Like, are you sure about this, Mr. Prog?
I think this is one of the reasons why there are a bunch of net incidents happening every day, is that this is apparently a world where we develop the net to a crazy degree. Like, your fish stick machine has its own internal network, but we didn't teach anyone anything about proper network security or best online practices.
Yep. Man, remember when Mega Man X had to, like, sleep for 30 years so that the ethics program could make sure that he was, like, a good, sane person and not going to do anything bad? Well, nobody bothered doing that with the Mr. Progs. We'll just put them out. Whatever quirky personality they've got, they get to keep. Oops.
Yep. The majority of them are just gonna be ridiculously, people-pleasing, to the point where bad guys will just be able to walk up and say, hey, let me into this super secret area. And the Mr. Prog will say, absolutely!
Yep. Or, hey, you're due for some new data. Here you go. Oh, wow, this data's really hot. And then, 30 minutes later, the vending machine is spewing fire. Oops.
That was a fun thing that happened.
Yep, that's certainly a thing that happened in Battle Network 3. Yeah, but, this area is also all about water. It's right on the coast. They've got a huge purifier down here that's taking care of everything, and they even sell a bunch of purified water. There are a couple points in the game where NPCs will talk about, like, yeah, I'm going to Seaside Town because I want that real good, healthy water. Yep. Also, there's something happening at the door of the aquarium here. I also love this guy's face because you immediately know the voice he's going to speak in. Why'd you fire me? I was giving the viewers an exciting show. A little fire, a little change of me face makeup, dramatic flair, matey. You don't know the first thing about entertainment. You shouldn't have fired me. Like, you just see him and you're just like, yeah, this man's a pirate. He's got that stereotypical accent that we know. Just perfectly encapsulated right here.
I mean, we obviously never see exactly what happens with the show. We just have to take people's word for it that he was putting the animals and possibly the viewers in danger.
Yep.
I don't think, in theory, he was wrong there. Having a pirate-themed dolphin show would be slightly more entertaining than just a regular dolphin show.
Well, the good news is we can see the show as it currently is, and we can hear people talk about the show as it was, and we can make that judgment for ourselves, perhaps, but unfortunately not today, in air quotes. Apparently today actually is Friday, on top of it being, Friday in the game, but they're going to come back tomorrow and they're going to visit the aquarium in full. But in the meantime, Mick's going to have to take care of that penguin overnight. Can he do it? Do you trust this 10-year-old child to take care of a penguin where we had to go and get the food for the penguin?
Also, I love that just because he said the word fish when he was buying fish sticks and the penguin squawked, like, that he bought some for the penguin too. You're supposed to give animals greasy fried food. I mean, it's not the best for people either, but that's probably not what you should be feeding your penguin just because it has fish in it.
Yeah. That makes me wonder, can penguins digest, like, fried food with breading on it? Okay, I've got my phone.
I think the bread would be okay, but just the extra grease and fat might be harder for them to digest if they're not used to it.
Can penguins eat fish sticks? Google. Well, the first thing I get is from mom.com that says, list of things penguins eat. Okay? And then it's just, like, regular penguins eating fish, a lot of videos, a lot of penguin facts. Yet, like, this is part of the reason why I'm just like, yo, how did they not know about this? Oh, by the way, they finally gave us the firmware update for the Navi Customizer. We have the Navi Customizer now. This thing, the gateway to immense power, is here. But before they start the tutorial, I just want to read, like, the last thing that showed up in my search here that is very telling about my search engine. When I searched, can penguins eat fish sticks, I got a book called The Curse of the Were-Penguin.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. Yeah, but this is the tutorial for the Navi Customizer here. They're teaching you just the basics at this point, but there's a couple extra features that aren't talked about here or are exclusive to this game that have never been part of things in previous games. The first thing that they don't tell you about is that there are compression codes for Navi Customizer programs. If you hold right and then tap a 10-button input combination above a program such as Undershirt, it will compress the program and allow you to fit more onto your Navi Customizer, do more with the small space you've got. Additionally, a new mechanic for this game is that your programs can dangle off the side of the Navi Customizer. We start with a 4x4 16 square grid, and with stuff that can hang off the sides, we get 4 more squares along the top, along the right, along the bottom, and along the left. And that gives us a lot more area. It effectively doubles the size, but if we put programs outside the center area, we will introduce a bug into the Navi Customizer program, and I don't want to deal with some of the bugs that can come up from the Navi Customizer, so I never do it myself, but eventually there will be a workaround that will make it much more useful. What do you remember most about the Navi Customizer in 6, Parrish?
I mean, I don't remember very much of the differences between this and the previous one. I certainly remember that you couldn't overflow the grid at all. But I remember that a lot of the more useful programs that you wanted not only took up a bunch of space in terms of the square count, but were also just terrible shapes.
Yeah.
And made it much harder to fit other things in around them.
Yep.
So yeah, by the time I got to the end of the game, I just picked my favorite 5 or 6, programs, whatever I could fit. As we saw there, the undershirt is, a small 1 square grid, so that was easy enough to stick in and around some of the larger programs that you put in.
Yeah. It starts at 2, but we'll be able to compress it down to 1, and the undershirt is a constant companion that will be very helpful in the future. I'm pretty sure I survive a couple battles by the skin of my teeth because of the undershirt.
What was the white one that was only 1? Did I get that mixed up with something else?
That was a speed +1.
Ah.
Yeah, because they give you an attack +1 and a speed +1 to allow you to just rapid fire the Buster better, which, like, I've never been very good at button mashing, so, I'm glad to, like, not need to do it. But the attack +1 is really useful because it doubles the damage of all of our buster attacks, including the charge shot. So instead of 10 damage, it now does 20. The thing I really want, though, is I want to increase the charge time, because the faster it charges, the more power, like, the more quickly I can just fire off charge shots. And the buster can charge really fast in this game. It's really good.
Yeah, it's certainly nice once you get that up to a higher speed.
Yep. Yeah. Some of the really notable Navi customizer programs that can go into place are Search Shuffle, which is new for this game, that I will definitely be demonstrating when the time comes when I finally have an expanded customizer, and Number Open, which just gives you 10 battle chips to choose from. The Number Open Navi customizer program is really strong, and we haven't seen 10 chips in a custom screen since Battle Network 3, before it got nerfed down to 8. So it tells you a lot about how powerful Number Open is, where you just get 10 forever. Anyway, we've made it back to the aquarium. It's Saturday, and we have returned Plot of the Penguin to the director. So how's Mick feeling about this?
And as a reward, you get 1 day of free admission to the aquarium.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's something, but at the same time, like, that value's, what, $20? 30? It's been a long time since I've been to the zoo. I don't know how much it costs. I also, like, I completely missed talking to the woman and just examined the desk, so I'm just like, oh, well, maybe I'll go past her? Nope.
Well, the fact that we interacted with her over there and it said 1,000 zenny for adults and 500 for children.
Huh.
Again, base this on being basically Japan, where yen is roughly 100 to 1 with the dollar.
Yep.
Obviously, it fluctuates, but yeah, it's roughly $5 for kids to get in, 10 for adults. If
Yep.
we assume this world is consistent with our real world.
Yep. So, $10.
Total.
Yep. I could buy 1 HP memory from it, the cheapest one at the start of the game from that first shop. That's it.
Yep.
Also, I'm gonna have to wait until I see the HP count on Mega Man, but I'm pretty sure at some point off camera after last episode, I went around and bought a ton of HP memory, spent a lot of money, and just sort of powered up Mega Man because I was starting to feel that I wasn't, that durable. Because wandering around through the entire seaside area at, like, 160 max health, you can do it, but you really want to be, like, safer, I also like the little otter picture back there. And for some reason, I couldn't examine, like, the chicken legs on the bench. I'm not sure.
There's nothing remarkable about that.
Clearly not. But yeah, I'm looking at all the descriptions for these animals because it's going to be very useful coming up here real soon. It's very important that you examine everything in the aquarium. Well, I mean, aside from the fact that, like, it's required to move on, but yeah. Also, it's strange to me that the thing they note about sharks is, like, the shark fin soup thing and the environmental damage that people, like, making shark fin soup is, because there's a lot of cool things to talk about sharks. Sharks are really cool, but alright, we'll go with what the game has to say about it. But yeah, as I mentioned last time, the aquarium has a place where you can jack in to access the internet, and here it is, the aquarium HP. Last time I ran around, teased myself like 3 or 4 times about making a trade with that dude in the corner, and we're finally back. We can make it here. But while I'm here, I'm like, there's an unlocker I missed in Seaside Area 3. Let's just meander back and take a look. And I find these two on a date. They're here. If there could be sunsets, this would be the perfect place for them.
Yep. Just standing there, watching the floor panels slowly push people away from you.
Yep. Perfect place for a date. But yeah, here's Giga Cannon again. And oops, he moved too far forward and missed him. But yeah, demonstrating that the charge shot does 20 now. Also, some viruses come equipped with battle chips that can be detrimental to you. This guy up front is called a Swordy. A Swordy, not a Swordy, but I suppose you can pronounce it however you like. Swordies have been around since the very first Battle Network game. They appear in just about every one of them. I think they skipped 4. but they have two sword slashes they can do. If you're standing away from them, they do a long sword slash. If you're standing in the same column as them, they do a wide sword slash. It depends on the game, but usually the long sword takes a long time to swing, and the wide sword comes out really quick, so you don't want to stand in front of them as they do the swing at all. So that's why I tend to keep my distance to hang out right in front of them, so that I can draw out that swing and then stop. Then I don't have to worry about them anymore because they've already swung. That green mystery data is useful because Wide Blade is a very powerful chip. So there's a program advance in this game called Life Sword. Previously, starting at Battle Network 4, instead of using sword, wide sword, and long sword, you could substitute with sword, wide blade, long blade. And they're 130 damage versions of the chips instead of 80 damage versions of it. So it helps the component parts of Life Sword stay, competent for longer. But eventually, I'll show them off. And in addition to that, the B code on Wide Blade is very important because it's a part of a second program advance that is also very useful to show off. But yeah, we take advantage of some of that net surfing, and we're going to see the show. The Dolphin and Seal Show.
And as always, anything that you see is going to be relevant later.
Yep. Chekhov's gun. Don't show animals. Don't show the animal show unless you have something to teach for it. Chekhov's gun in the original adaptation being, don't put a gun on the mantle unless it's loaded and going to be shot as part of the show. But yep. So these guys are going to talk about how the show was different from last time. It was so much more of a mess. The last trainer had the dolphin jump through a fire ring and the seal lifting weights. What an odd fella he was. And I guess that's why he was fired. I mean, the show itself, I'm pretty sure at circuses, a key factor of it is having flaming hoops and having animals jump through them. So maybe that could be okay with the dolphin. But, how does a seal lift weights? I can bench, my body weight, and that seems pretty good for me, but, how does the seal bench? It's just got little tiny fins.
I'm assuming it's something like they, set out some sort of bar that it can put its nose under and, throw back its head to lift it up or something. The equivalent of a creature that doesn't have very maneuverable hands or limbs to lift weights just by using its neck and spine. I don't know.
Yep. Especially, that makes a lot of sense, especially because, it's bouncing the ball on its nose there. Also, long time here, as I pull out my piece of paper, I mark off, I found this Reg Up 1. It's very useful. I need to keep track of that.
In the same way in a previous session that we did where you specifically said, hey, if anyone out there is a chemist, it can tell me more about how negative ions are supposed to eliminate smells in the air, let us know in the comments. I'm going to make that call out. Hey, if anyone out there is a crazy animal trainer who wants to make their seals lift weights, post an answer in the comments and let us know how you do it.
Yep. Because, we see the seal, bouncing the ball on its nose, so I think Parrish's explanation there is probably, the best for it. But at the same time, it's still, Also, one of the things I didn't notice about Blackbeard previously, he's got a whip in his right hand there. The first times I played these games, I thought he had, some weird, thing from a ship. But no, now I'm looking at it and I just see, yeah, he's just got a whip.
How else are you supposed to tame the animals?
Clearly. It's not the first time we're going to see a whip for animal taming in this game, but it's still, one of the things where you don't think about it when you're young until, oh yeah. Man, remember in, the first generation Pokemon games when the Ace trainers had whips?
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Yeah, different time. But yeah, Mick is very clearly denying that he feels special about the penguin. Also, oh no, the piranhas are out. Who could have possibly done this? Who could have possibly released the sharks out into the ocean? Who could have possibly let all the animals out so that piranhas can jump out of our toilets back home in Central City? Also, Mick is finally past the point of where he's lying to himself about going out to help the penguin, and he gets going to do what needs to be done. This is good.
We've now reached the dairy part of his tsundere.
Yep. Mick does not know how to properly express himself, but when the time comes, he knows when he needs to be a man of action. What in the world's going on here? I don't know, lady. What is? Oh, come on.
I mean, at least the scientist guy down there is still calmly selling his sub chips.
I'm about to offload my sub chips soon. Do you want to see them? It's just like the Resident Evil 4 merchant where he just like opens up his lab coat and he's like, "What are you buying?" Also, I like how the turtle's just hanging out. even in an emergency, I can't go that way. Ah, an alligator. I also like how the penguins are just sort of hanging out. They were let free and they're like, oh, let's just explore a little bit. One of the things I remember seeing now that we're, in indefinite quarantine is like zoos are putting up videos of their zookeepers. Like, okay, interruption. That alligator's there. It's not chowing down on those snacks on the bench? Really? I bet those smell real good. Bet an alligator wants them. Also, look at this. Look at that broom. How, is this really the best way to keep an alligator back? Well, I mean, I guess Mick's got it better than the director does. But yeah, like I was saying with the indefinite lockdown, aquariums and zoos and stuff are needing to get its animals exercise. So there's a lot of videos on the internet right now of like zookeepers taking the penguins out for a run around the zoo, and they're just walking around with all these penguins following them around. It's kind of interesting.
That sounds like a fun time.
Yep. Also, here's the director telling us what we need to do to fix this mess. It's too bad that he got stuck in this cage and couldn't do it himself, so he's got to rely on a 6th grader. If you were in 6th grade, do you think you'd be able to, like, solve this problem? I don't think I'd be able to.
I mean, I guess it depends. In our world, we wouldn't have such a complicated system where you'd have to jack into the computer and have your Navi interact with a virtual computer workstation to get the feeding time chime to play. There would just be a button on the computer that would say, like, feeding time or intercom or something, and you would just press that.
Yep. But even still, like, I also like here, like, I tried to check the stuff sitting over in the corner there. Nothing happens with it, but we're going to go find its ball, and, well, it's down in there, along with all the jellyfish. I like how, the jellyfish could have gotten out with the sharks to just explore the sea. But no, they decided here, this is the place they want to be. Well, as long as the jellyfish are content, I guess that's all that matters, right? And now, here comes me not remembering where I'm supposed to go next. I remember the thing that happens next, and it's outside, and I'm like, I need to go outside so I can do the thing. Where am I supposed to be? Why hasn't it happened yet? Maybe I have to go all the way to leave. Maybe that works? No? Well, there's got to be something I can do. Where else am I supposed to go? Yes, what the heck in the world is going on here? I have no idea. So yeah, now I just start talking to everyone because I have no idea where I'm supposed to be.
I'm trying to remember, if there's any place in the museum where you would have an excuse of where to go, or like where they would have given you some sort of hint, like, oh, this is the deep sea diving area. But yeah, there just really aren't a lot of hints about where you're supposed to go once you have that notice of how do you go in deep water, or how do we dive in there without being stung.
Yeah, I
There
guess.
just isn't a lot of direction for that other than look everywhere in the aquarium.
Yeah, I mean, in the aquarium, I suppose, is the key thing because look at how far I have to go to trigger the next cutscene for this. Like, I barely missed it. Also, hello.
And then she vanishes into thin air.
Vanishes to the other tank. There's see-through land. You should be able to see that. What are you doing, my man?
Yeah, it's really funny, that this trick sort of works in an isometric perspective, but yeah, if you imagine it from Land's perspective, that should not have worked at all unless she was literally able to teleport.
Yeah, she walks behind the tank, and then he runs over, and he's like, wait, hold on, where did she go? And then, like, he just sort of looks over, and she walks over behind the other one. And then he's just like, well, she's nowhere. Let's just walk back in. Ah. Well, clearly she Spider-Man'd onto the roof to get around land. Clearly. But yeah, this was the thing I remembered happening, but didn't, remember the other thing in the way first. So instead, there's a piranha that's going to, cause a disturbance and draw my attention.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell from the height of that aquarium roof whether that's on a fairly level surface with the bus platform. The way it cuts it off, it looks like it might be higher.
Yeah, it's very clearly much higher, but an exact measurement of is sort of hard to tell. But somehow Iris got up there, and she pointed over here somewhere. So let's sort of meander about and see what we can find. And hey, did she bring this here? How did she know this was here? It wasn't here in all that time I got lost and was running around. But yeah, there's a cockney bot, and this is how we're going to solve our jellyfish problem. Mega Man don't care if he gets stung. It's just a robot body. But yeah, that
helps that the copy bots are completely waterproof as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it really helps. I mean, if you ever have to like repair a submarine or do like dangerous maintenance down in a shaft or something like that, you can just, put a Navi in a copy bot, and as long as like whatever computer core survives, you can just get the Navi back out of it. Like, it's really smart to make it, environmentally safe to some of these things.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what we're trying to do with a lot of our robotic technology. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just very confused by it because I didn't think they'd established that this thing was waterproof. And then suddenly, oh yeah, let's just send the copy bot into the tank. Genius.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was taking a drink. But, it's got to be made of some sort of, like, spongy or deformable metal or material so that it can, like, grow and shape itself to whatever the, the shape of the Navi is that goes in there. Because you could have Blast Man, per se, where he's sort of floating in the air and the copy bot would have to, like, match that. Or you could have some of the bigger boys, like Guts Man, where suddenly he's got really big arms. Like, there's got to be some sort of, like, deformation that can happen with the Navis that can, like, make the copy bot work for it. But it's... Yeah. Also...
Yeah, that's something that I never really thought about with those.
Yeah, and something else I just thought about, like, does it always weigh the same? Like, it's gotta always weigh the same, right? That's how stuff works. So you get Gutsman, but he'd still weigh, like, whatever base, I don't know, 100, 150 pounds the copy bot does. And then you'd put, like, Mega Man in there, and he'd still weigh 150. So in some ways, it might be better to have, like, a smaller Navi that can do things, Because then you got, like, more of your weight concentrated in a single place. But yeah, also, here's Blackbeard. He's just standing on this dolphin, having the time of his life. Look at that smile.
Absolutely love Land's dialogue. You were that guy that was yelling about being fired. Why did you do this? I'm really hoping that Blackbeard just would have responded, because I got fired. Duh.
Because I got fired, duh. But yeah, I'm thinking of jacking into this here computer, boy. But yeah, I'm gonna jack in and fix this problem. So, coming up next episode, my least favorite dungeon in this game, the aquarium. Have a nice day, everybody. I guess I'm gonna let it save and quit before I stop the video recording. Perfect. Alright, now it's time. Bye.
The end.